afternoon. Thank you for joining us on this special day to honor an incredibly special friend. For decades, Sergeant Paul Arnold has helped to mentor and lead generations of police officers. From an early age, Sergeant Arnold looked up to roles played by the likes of Clint Eastwood, Tom Selleck, and John Wayne. Anyone surprised? Standing here today, I can tell you that this host of police officers in this room and I have long looked up to the roles that Sergeant Arnold has played throughout his career and through ours. We're here to honor him today in a special way with a national award. The presentment of this award is a first for the Franklin Police Department, but it's not the first. There's been plenty of firsts under the leadership of this lady. Please welcome to the podium Chief Deborah Faulkner.
Good afternoon, and welcome to the Franklin Police Department's first presentation of the Theodore Roosevelt Police Award. We're honored that you're all here today to help us recognize one of our own, Sergeant Paul Arnold, with this very prestigious award. From investigating possible fraud and identity theft to breaking up disturbances, executing arrest warrants, talking someone through a mental health crisis, locating a lost child, providing comfort to someone who's lost someone very dear to them, or investigating a traffic crash. Law enforcement officers have wide-ranging roles in order to keep their communities safe. Needless to say, they put themselves in harm's way every day. What is amazing to me, I'll never get used to it, is that even after they sustain a very serious injury, all they can think about is getting back to work. Reminds me of soldiers on the battlefield. The Theodore Roosevelt Award honors these hometown heroes who overcome a serious injury or illness, return to duty, and provide exemplary service to their department and their city. This award represents the resilience and the resolve that our 26th president had. Theodore Roosevelt was a very sickly child, but he overcame his frailty with determination and physical exertion. As I reflected on this occasion, I couldn't help but think about how this truly ties in with the history of the city of Franklin. When you consider all that this city has gone throughout the many, many years, Franklin truly exemplifies perseverance, resilience, and resolve. And this spirit continues to flow through our community today. I know of no one else who tells the history about the strength and exuberance and driving force of our city and its people better than Eric Jacobson. I was delighted he accepted my invitation to tell you this story today. Eric Jacobson is the CEO of the Battle of Franklin Trust. In fact, right now he's up just a couple of doors up, not far from this building right here, which is ground zero for the Battle of Franklin, where they're doing an archaeological dig 151 years later, still finding remnants of this terrible battle. He manages and directs two of our historic sites, Carnton and the Carter House. He is an amazing historian. He's written 3 books. He's a sought-after speaker, storyteller, educator, preservationist, and advocate to save our history. Thank you so much for being here today, Eric. Eric Jacobson.
Thank you very much for that kind introduction. I'm not sure I deserve to be here, but I was asked by the chief, so here I am. And I apologize for my dress. We were supposed to end the dig about 3 days ago, but we've continued to find such amazing history just not far underneath the ground, that we continued it. So I've spent about 2 weeks outside, which, is really a lot of fun. But I don't normally do this sort of thing, so bear with me. I don't have prepared remarks. I never do, so I'll work my way through this, and it'll just probably start flowing out at some point. I'm old enough, I think, to I talked to my daughters about this. I'm old enough to remember a time when not everybody was a hero and not everybody got an award. And I deal with a part of history, both with soldiers and with civilians, people who were so affected by events, a traumatic series of events. I think they found resolve within themselves that they probably never knew they had. And one of the things that I learned this morning was that I had no idea who Paul Arnold was until I just met him, which is actually good, which means that he hasn't encountered me on the street at some point and had to bring me in. But I think the fact that I don't know him is exactly what many heroes really are. They're people we don't know. They're people we've never heard of. 26 years, right? He's been doing his job. 26 years. I've been married 26 years. That's a long time. My wife keeps telling me that too. But resolve is one of those unique facets of human beings. And I know that some people have more resolve than others. They just do. But here in Franklin, particularly on November 30th, 1864, and in the days that followed, there were soldiers and civilians who had to find resolve that they probably didn't want to find. And they quietly tried to pick up the pieces. I've often wondered how someone like Mr. Arnold does a job like he does. I could not do what you do, sir. So I want to thank you for everything you do and everything that you have done for years, and officers all over town and all over the country. So what is it? What is it that sets someone like this apart? This is a real hero. This isn't just the label attached because it seems like the right thing to say. This is a hero. And just the other day, one of the reasons we continued to dig up by the Carter House was people asked me, what have you found? Well, we found the military stuff, but that's not really what we're looking for. What we were looking for was the federal line, so we can actually take people to a particular place. And one of these areas that we found had just resolve written all over it. The ground doesn't lie to you. The ground will tell you a story about people, too. And whether it was 1 year ago or 150 years ago, there are people in places and times who have to dig down deep. And I think you've dug down deep, haven't you, recently? Sounds like it from everything I've been looking at. So here you are. And I was looking at something just the other day of people long gone. And there was their story. In the panic and fury and chaos and nightmare of a battle that was unfolding just up this street, right at the top of the hill. There were the scattered remnants at the bottom of a trench telling us what happened in this particular sector. As roughly 700 federal soldiers faced off against, in this particular area, about 700 men facing off against almost 4,000 Confederate soldiers. Now, I don't know about you, but there's a point where I just run the other way. They didn't. They stood their ground. And about half of them became casualties, right up the top of the hill. Killed, wounded, fighting to preserve the Union late in the war. They held their ground as long as they could. They gave it everything they had. They fell back to the area close around the Carter House, held the Confederates in check, launched a counter-assault. The grounds told us all these stories. So it's really been a unique time as I got the email from Chief Faulkner and then to meet Mr. Arnold today. Resolve was alive then, it's alive now. And it goes on. But I'll hearken back. My father just hit me with this, not literally hit me, but pounded it into me as I was young. There are some people who are exceptional. There really are. there are some people who are exceptional, and they're usually the ones who don't talk about themselves. That, to me, is a model example of character, and it is a model example of resolve, exemplified here and in the man sitting right here in the front row. Thank you very much for your service.
Under the leadership and insight of an incredibly caring board, Franklin, its citizens, and the employees who serve this city every day are proud to call Franklin home. I'm proud to introduce this next guest, our mayor, Dr. Kenmore.
It's always hard to follow Eric Jacobson because he is quite the storyteller. I do have some differences with Eric in that I do know Sergeant Arnold, not on a criminal basis, but on a professional basis for some time I spent with him a few years ago, and certainly I appreciate that. And I just wanted to take a minute to reflect a little bit on the significance of this award and maybe some of the non-significance of it, because Teddy Roosevelt was quite the character. He had quite a career. He did grow up a scrawny little kid, and I guess probably you were scrawny at one time, and you succeeded in building yourself up in Sergeant Arnold. But I didn't know it until just recently that he got in a boxing match as president and lost one of his eyes. So certainly that's reflective of some of the spirit of this award. But I think that the fact that he became an accidental president has some rings with me some, in that he was vice president and the president died, and he suddenly was thrust into the role of president of the United States. But the main thing I saw about Teddy Roosevelt and the significance of the award, this award that you're receiving, Paul, is that he really overcame so many significant odds against him. And through that, he demonstrated persistence, and believe it or not, some evidence that he was a humble man with great integrity that served his state where he lived and served his country in battle, and also served as the president with great honor, and is remembered as one, for many people, a favorite president. And so as I close, I think I recognize all those good qualities in you, and it's quite an honor that you're receiving an award that bears the name of one of our great presidents. Congratulations.
Today, we're honored to have with us a man whose insight and example help to ensure that city team members deliver exceptional service to an extraordinary community. Please welcome Franklin's City Administrator, Mr. Eric Stuckey.
Good afternoon, and thank you so much for being here. Paul, it says a lot. This is a full room. That's about you, buddy. I want to share a Teddy Roosevelt quote with you. Couldn't help it. I love this quote. Far and away, the best prize that life has to offer is the chance to work hard at work worth doing. Work hard at work worth doing. Sergeant Paul Arnold exemplifies that quote, no doubt. You know, you don't have to study leadership very long to learn that the most effective form of leadership is leading by example. And Paul does that every day, dedicated to his community, dedicated to his profession, and especially dedicated to his Franklin Police Department family. You know, there's a saying about character that tough times and challenges, like the hard illness you're dealing with, Paul, it doesn't build character, it reveals it. And we see that dedication to your work, to serving this community, to serving your fellow officers living every day through what you do and the example you set for all of us. So one of the great honors of my work is to get to play a small part in recognizing outstanding public servants. And there's no doubt in my mind as I stand before you today that Sergeant Paul Arnold is absolutely one of our best. And it is so fitting that we recognize him here today in the midst of Police Week, and also recognize him in the honor of a great president and a former police commissioner, Theodore Roosevelt. Thank you, Paul.
Thank you both. Very nice. Thank you very much. All right, everybody stay light now. This is all good. The Theodore Roosevelt Police Award is presented nationwide to officers who have returned to duty after an illness or injury. Franklin is the 14th city to be added to the Theodore Roosevelt Award roster. Most of the cities are quite large: Los Angeles, New York, Nashville. So we're tiny little Franklin. We're big on recognizing our officers. We have some other incredible guys who have joined us today. I see one, and I'm sorry it's dark, and you'll have to stand if I call your name and you're here. But I invited some of the Teddy Roosevelt Police Award winners from the Metro Nashville Police Department that are buddies of mine. And I see one in particular. I see Sergeant Jimbo Allen. Jimbo, will you stand up? And his wife, Karen. Not only did Jimbo and I work together at Metro, but we graduated from high school together. So, and Karen and I were majorettes together. Go Coats. Go Coats. I can't tell if Foster Heights here. Are you here? Okay, he's not here. I asked Officer James Duke, was he able to come? And Lieutenant Joe McEwen, I wasn't sure if he'd be able to make it because his wife had a stroke a couple of weeks ago. But that's an amazing story there. But Jimbo, thanks so much for being here. And Karen, thanks very much. As a part of the Teddy Roosevelt Police Award program, participating police departments are asked to invite a local corporate sponsor to be their partner when they do this. There was only one group that I wanted, and thank God they agreed. And not only did they agree, but they exceeded my expectations. I would like to ask Ms. Stephanie Elliott from Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center, and also Dr. Ruth Young, who's a Vanderbilt oncologist, to join me for a presentation to Sergeant Arnold. Also very shy. They are presenting you, Sergeant Arnold, with a check for $1,000.
So the Theodore Roosevelt Police Association. So this is an award for perseverance in the face of adversity. So then I called on my own knowledge of TR, and I recall stories my dad told. He would go in a straight line from point A to point B, and he didn't deviate from the straight line. If he came to a lake, he could swim across the lake. He could go over the top of the lake, but he didn't work around the lake. Came to a building, didn't walk around the building, no work around. It was over the top. So I began thinking about that, and I started worrying about what we'd been doing. We'd done a lot of workarounds. I remember talking about the first line chemo we might use, and my favorite choice confers sensitivity to cold. And Paul said, well, if I have that, I'm not touching guns. We can't do that. I said, well, I have a workaround. Then I tried to schedule his treatment through the Christmas holiday. And the next thing I knew that was the priority was getting Christmas dinner on the table for the working members of the police force. And I had to figure out a way around that. So I was troubled by this. There's a lot of workarounds, but I finally figured it out. Paul, you're just over the top. Congratulations.
I'm not through with you yet. Thank you, Vanderbilt. So delighted that you partnered with us and that you could be here today. You know, Teddy Roosevelt did a lot of things, as we said already. He was the police commissioner for the New York City Police Department. I can imagine that was a bear then and it's a bear now. He always said, get action, seize the moment. We're here today to take the moment to honor and praise you for your incredible example. You inspire us all every day. I'm so honored to present this award and these medals to you, especially during National Police Week. For your courage, your dedication to this city and your fellow officers, who many of which are in the back. Your resilience, as we keep saying, persistence, positive spirit, and service above self. I'm going to get you the Teddy Roosevelt Award. It's quite lovely. It really is. And we personalized it. On the back it says, Sergeant, your service, dedication, loyalty, and love for the Franklin Police Department, despite extraordinary personal challenges, set you apart with fondness from me and all your colleagues at the Franklin Police Department. Would you like to say something? We'll sit it down. We'll sit down for you.
Wanted to thank everybody. A couple of specifics. Number one, thank you, Chief, for nominating me for this award. Very prestigious, and glad there's no pen involved at the moment. That would have been an award and workers' comp on the same day. I also want to thank the association, the Theodore Roosevelt Association, for this award. It's greatly appreciated. And a few others, I know I'm going to be in trouble if I don't, so I want to thank all of the staff at the England Cancer Center, especially the oncology nurses that have done above and beyond and taking care of me and enabling me to continue to come in and work and do my job. And it's not in any small part to what their contributions have been. I also want to thank my colleagues. I mean, I could kind of barely see you back there, but your contribution and your help with providing rides and support and a smiling face has been beyond words and beyond comparison. And that has helped me, especially in some of the darker days, to move forward. And I thank you for that. And of course, there's one, behind every good man, there's a better woman. So, words to my wife for all of her support. And if it wasn't for her pushing, sometimes I wouldn't have made it either. So, I want to thank her for that. It seems like it's the day for quotes. So I have one that has been my mantra since I was a kid, when I spent most of my time wearing my glasses, my braces, and yes, a pocket protector. And most of my day was spent avoiding the bullies, most of which were girls. But an uncle had shared a quote with me: do what you can with what you have where you are. And that became a mantra and a part of my just daily existence, and it helped me through years and years of living as a child growing up and as an adult and as a working police officer. And it was not until last week when I found out about this award and did some research that I found that that was a quote by Theodore Roosevelt. So there's been some close kinship there. And anyway, the last thing I wanted to say was another quote from another person I respected, Abraham Lincoln. And in the end, it's not the years in your life that count, but it's the life in your years. Thank you, everyone, so much. One other quick thing. I'm coming up on 39 years in law enforcement total. That's quite a bit. And I've had all kinds of supervisors, chiefs, deputies, et cetera, whatever that I've answered to. One thing that I've gotten from Chief Faulkner that I've never received from any other supervisor ever is the hugs. And they're great, I have to say.
I'm a hugger. Thank you, Paul, so much. I'll let you rest, but we have another surprise for you. You might have picked up on it. It's been hard to keep secrets from you. We asked Congress, she likes to be called Congressman, Marsha Blackburn, if she could come, and she could not come. But we said, well, in your absence, we would love it if you could get us a flag that has flown over the U.S. Capitol. And she did. We have all of the certification of that came with it. Plus, she enclosed a wonderful letter in this U.S. House of Representatives. And it's not very long. I'll read it to you. Dear Sergeant Paul Arnold, congratulations. I've heard that you were the recipient of the Theodore Roosevelt Association Police Award. The service and the courage you exemplified has never failed us. Our community is safe and secure thanks to your hard work. Each day, you demonstrate the true meaning of sacrifice. You did this even in the midst of battling a life-threatening illness. Your presence in Franklin, Tennessee has created an assurance of safety in the midst of unsettling times. The selfless actions you display daily spur others to do the same for their families and friends. Your work is greatly appreciated. My best, Marsha Blackburn, Member of Congress. Well, I got one more thing. Not through yet. We really wanted to, as a member of the Theodore Roosevelt Association now, we wanted the public that we serve to know more about this. Plus, we want to capture this day for always. When I'm not here, and even some of the youngest people in the back aren't here. So we're going to put a wonderful public display in the lobby. It's not completed yet, but we do have a rendering of it. It will be representing the TR Award, and Sergeant Arnold is the first recipient. And I'll show you what it looks like right here. Don't play Monopoly. So that would be a very nice display in our lobby for the public to see. I have a number of thank yous, if you'll indulge me, please. I want to thank the TR Executive Administrator Marie Cooch, and we'll be sending the TR Association all of our media information, our program and everything, so they have it for their records. And we want to thank the Teddy Roosevelt Executive Committee in Oyster Bay, New York. I want to thank Mayor Ken Moore, City Administrator Eric Stuckey. I see at least 2 members of our aldermen. If there's others, I apologize. I see Brandy Blanton and I see Margaret Martin. Thank you for being here and for all the support that you give to the men and women of the Franklin Police Department. I want to thank the Vanderbilt Ingram Cancer Center for their great care of Sergeant Arnold and so many others. You're such an asset to our community, and we love you for sponsoring this event. I want to thank Congressman Marsha Blackburn for the flag and her kind words. And so indulge me on my own staff. I want to thank Craig Lanshute, who totally transformed this room and made it look very special for this event. Jace Welton, who did the displays here in the front, and my right hand, Miss Donna Thorpe, who does everything for me, and I appreciate that so much. And finally, Lieutenant Charles Warner. Now, when I told him about this award that I wanted to do, and I started explaining about Teddy Roosevelt, as you can imagine, he's a busy guy, and I kind of got the eye roll. And it's like, okay, it's like one more thing for me to do. But he saw the vision, and he saw the passion for this award, and he loves Paul. And he went after this with great zeal and really exceeded my expectations of putting all of this together. The more we got into it, the more excited we became. And he did an incredible job, and I greatly appreciate it, Charlie. When I sent the information up to Oyster Bay and said, you know, we really want to do this down here in Franklin, I sent them a picture of what's on our building out here. There can't be another police department in that group of 13 that has Teddy Roosevelt's words carved into the side of their building. And we have the entire point, the man in the arena, carved in our building that our officers walk by every day. Those are words of wisdom, those are words that we serve by, and words that we live by. So it's kind of a done deal when I did that. I kind of had an ace up my sleeve. I want to thank the Arnold family and friends that are here today, his dear sweet mother that's here, his wife Dawn. Dawn, thank you for letting us have him all these years. And all the other members of your family. I know some of you drove up from Chattanooga, so thanks for spending this special time with him and his police family. And most of all, I want to thank you, Sergeant Paul Arnold, for your dedication, your hard work, loyalty to your fellow officers, service above self. If anyone ever displayed that, it's you. May God continue to bless and protect you always. Now, I want to say that you're welcome to stay for a reception that we're going to have in the lobby right after this. But the final thing we're going to do is offer a benediction. And I'd like to call to the podium Pastor Chris Whitney. He's the pastor of the Nashville Family Church, founder and director of One Gen Away, volunteer police chaplain for the Franklin Police Department. He provides emergency food services for our community. I can't tell you how many times we've called him out in the middle of the night, and he showed up with a car full of groceries for some family that we identified that had nothing to eat. He does so many things in our community, but more importantly, we're blessed to have him as our friend. Chris Whitney.
It's hard to do a benediction like this at times, but there is a story with this. And when you do what I do, when I heard about this, Chief had sent me just an email saying, could you pray for one of the officers? And I said, sure. And she told me what was going on, and being a member of a club that nobody wants to join, that cancer club, as I was at Vanderbilt Ingram, Dr. Barbara Murphy, and amazing oncologist. And I asked that question, could I go see him? You know, and she's like, well, I'm sure. Yeah. So here I walk into a room at Vanderbilt, two people I don't know, and I thought, well, maybe I'll know him. You know, I'm talking to my wife on the way, and I said, well, maybe I'll know him. I see a lot of officers on the streets, and I said, but either way, I'm walking in, you know. And so a strange guy walks into a room, and there's Sergeant Arnold and his wife, Dawn. And immediately, I could just sense the sincerity of their heart, how they welcomed me, just a guy walking in a room. But the thing that I noticed more than anything was their commitment to one another. And as you called out, Dawn, I just commend that tremendously. And that commitment to each other touched me in such a way. And then your commitment to what you do. And I heard a guy say once that consistency trumps commitment. And your 39 years of service shows the consistency that you've had, of your marriage together, the consistency you've displayed. So I want to thank you personally, just from the short window that I've got to meet you, the couple times we've talked on the phone, Dawn, for your commitment and your consistency, because it speaks volumes to the people in this room that are surrounded this room. There's a scripture in Hebrews chapter 12 and verse 1 that says, we are surrounded by so great a cloud of witnesses. And we don't get to see that very often while we're here on earth, but you're getting a special glimpse of an impact you've made on a community, on a group of people. So thank you, sir. God bless you for that. So I'd like to pray. Heavenly Father, life is always full of challenges, some worse than others, some days harder than others, some situations just unbearable at times. So God, I thank you for the faithfulness and the courage of this man and his wife as they fight a tremendous battle. And God, the smile that I saw on his face when I walked in that room as he talked to me, and the vision and the heart that I'm going to beat this thing. God, what an encouragement to me, and I know to many others. So, Father, I pray you would visit the Arnolds in just a special, special, special way. And, Father, for each and every one of us that have had the privilege and the pleasure of knowing this amazing man and his wife, God, may we also face our challenges and our battles with the same resilience, the same dignity, and the same joy as we sense the victory that we have in you. So, Father, we thank you for that in Jesus' name. And everyone said, amen.